Hello, 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 hello. We are live, and today we are talking about a really, really serious question when it comes to reflux. I get this a lot. In fact, just today, I have had a sorry, ladies, peoples, I'll be back in a minute. I didn't realize it's not letting me go live on my Instagram feed. Add. I don't want to add. I want to do. I'll be with you, Facebook, in just a moment. But let me know, actually, have you ever wondered if infant reflux is actually dangerous for your child? Let me know in the comments. And have you ever had any scary experiences with your child and their reflux? Some reason my Instagram isn't working. I think I am supposed to be live over there, but it's just, I'm going to try one more time and then I will be back to everybody on Facebook. So let me know if you're watching. Have you ever wondered if infant reflux is actually dangerous? Let me know in the comments. And have you ever had a scary experience with your child's reflux? There we go. No, we're not able to do this. I'm going to tell people on Instagram that I can't reach them. Hey, Instagram, my live isn't working over here today, so come and join us on YouTube or Facebook. My live isn't working over here today. Done. Sorry, everybody on Facebook and YouTube. Welcome. Let me talk to you properly because this is a really, really serious issue. I had somebody hop into my DMs earlier this morning and they were told by the pediatrician or by the dietitian that they really need to do something about their baby's vomiting because let me see, I'm actually going to go and get the comment because it was shocking that somebody would scare a child like this. So the phone call with the dietitian yesterday after a 4-month wait for referral, and the dietitian told mum, I'm reading this, to say if my baby's sickness doesn't improve, the danger is his esophagus will never strengthen, and then gave them no solutions. And this parent said to me, what a way to strike fear into people. Now, first of all, the esophagus doesn't need to strengthen. Okay, complete problem in that statement in the first issue. I have a real connection to this mum because why would we want to strike fear into people and not help them? Now, I am going to be brutally honest. The answer to this question, is baby reflux dangerous, is yes. This is one of the hardest things for me to talk about because my goal is not to make anybody scared. And please stay with me so that I can talk you through this. Okay, please stay with me. And by the way, give StreamYard permission to show your name or comments. And then if you do type in comments, please let me know if this is resonating, if it makes sense. Don't go away scared. Infant reflux can be dangerous. It has the potential to be dangerous. Okay, I asked we did a quick poll on Instagram this morning, and in 5 hours, over 100 people have answered these. And we asked, have you ever wondered if baby reflux is actually dangerous for your child? 94% of parents are saying, yes, they've wondered this. This is why this live is important. And we also asked this other question, I'm trying to get it, this one, which is, have you ever found experiences with your baby scary? 92% of parents, again, over 100 people answered, are saying that they've had scary experiences with their baby and their reflux. Now, my own cousin found that his daughter had stopped breathing one night. Baby had turned blue in her cot due to aspiration. They went to the hospital and they were told that this was due to baby having reflux. Now, this child never, ever struggled with reflux, but all of a sudden she now has reflux and she was medicated because of this aspiration issue. She was lying in bed and actually some fluid aspirations, when fluid comes back out of the stomach and then unintentionally goes down into the windpipe in the lungs. That's sort of fluid contents into the lungs. This child had no history of reflux and yet was put on medication for years. Anybody has the risk of aspiration. Aspiration is something that happens. It can happen easier in babies than in adults because the gaps. So this is why babies lie. The recommended safe sleeping is for babies to lie on their back because the windpipe sits at the back of the body. The food pipe sits at the back. The windpipe sits at the front. So if food comes up, gravity holds it at the back instead of pushing it down into the lungs. Okay, because obviously we don't want anything to go into the lungs other than air. The reason stuff comes up out of the stomach, that is regurgitation, that is reflux. Medication doesn't stop that from happening. Medication doesn't protect against aspiration, yet aspiration is dangerous. It's not going to happen all the time. I couldn't leave my child down, not because I was afraid of aspiration. I had no idea at the time that she was bringing anything up and that it was actually a risk. I had to keep her upright because that was the only place she was comfortable. And I ignored safe sleeping guidelines because I needed to sleep. She needed to sleep. And the only place she was comfortable was upright. There are other risks with reflux. Okay, stay with me. Aspiration is probably the most common one. And, you know, research has shown that babies who have died from SIDS there is a high proportion of them who have had aspirated stomach contents found in traces in the lungs. What we don't know is, was the aspirated stomach contents the cause of their SIDS or not? The details haven't been shown. However, aspiration can be avoided. Okay, we can reduce massively reduce the risk of aspiration by understanding, why do babies regurgitate? There's a number of reasons they regurgitate, which is what we do in all of our online work and courses. If we understand why a child is regurgitating any material, then we can address that underlying cause. It might be a tongue tie, it might be a buccal tie, which is a cheek tie, it might be an oral tie, it might be birth trauma, a misalignment of things, it might be too much food, it might be too much air, it could be so many different things, it could be allergies. When we understand the exact cause for any child's regurgitation or their reflux, then we can take really specific actions to resolve it for them, thereby massively reducing, actually completely stopping any regurgitation happening. And then when you stop the regurgitation, then the chances of aspiration just drop off the cliff. Other reasons to identify and address reflux early is because of the long-term impact that reflux can have. Okay. Reflux, by the way, let me know, is this making sense? Hopefully you're all on Facebook and you can actually hear me. I didn't even check if you could hear me. Hope you can. But I assume you're still watching, so that's fine. The long-term impacts of babies being on medication. The medications are not free from side effects. They cause long-term things like gut dysbiosis, which is small intestine bacterial overgrowth, histamine sensitivity, just general imbalances in gut microbiome, which can then lead to an imbalance in the proper hormones, which can present as behavioral challenges. They can present as poor sleep. They can present as poor cognitive development. We have, and these things, depending on how severe they get, can end up being years to resolve. I had a long conversation with an old client whose daughter is 5. and they have had a really, really, really long journey. And it was meeting me was okay, we helped put it together properly. Now, I'm not the functional medicine doctor that they needed, but I was the catalyst to say, let's start this process now. It has taken years for her daughter to be able to eat a varied diet, okay? Because gut dysbiosis happens over a long period of time. We have medication risks. We've got things like ADHD and other illnesses or conditions that get labeled as brain imbalances that are not actually true brain imbalances at all. They could be from gut dysbiosis and an imbalance in gut microbiome. They could be from tongue tie and from mouth breathing, and which results in poor sleeping habits. And essentially chronic sleep deprivation for children over the years presents as behavioral disorders. I'll be going through this in a lot more detail actually for professionals next week, because not addressing infant reflux properly at the root cause in infants gives a much greater risk of developing chronic conditions later on in childhood and indeed in life. And we can always do something to reduce, even eradicate those risks. It is simply by starting to understand what is the underlying cause of reflux for every child we work with. I've identified over 30 different causes and contributing factors. When we work with children to be specific about what's going on, then we address it, we resolve the reflux, and then it's no longer dangerous. The majority of children, children are resilient. The majority of them were absolutely fine. What we don't know, because nobody is studying it, nobody's doing the research, and I don't have the money to do the research, but I do desire to get to a place where I'm pumping millions of pounds into this level of research because it needs to be done. Nobody's looking at the long-term impact of gut microbiome and gut balance because babies are on PPI medications very early on in life, which directly disrupt how food is broken down. They prevent the stomach being acidic, so it doesn't kill the bacteria, the pathogenic, the dangerous, not dangerous, but the unhelpful bacteria. We get cases of, Clostridium difficile is a much higher incidence in anybody who takes a PPI because the stomach acid is no longer able to do its job of killing the bacteria because it's not acidic anymore. We have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which derives from children who are on these medications consuming bacteria in their food that is not getting eradicated and killed by the stomach acid because it's not acidic anymore. These bacteria then pass into the small intestine and colonize there, and it takes years to rebalance it. So I am just keeping looking down at my notes because there's a lot on this. And I want to make sure that you understand that the majority of children do not need medications. I have never come across a child for whom an actual cause of reflux is an overproduction of stomach acid. Our bodies produce stomach acid in response to specific triggers. When we understand what those triggers are, we can manage them. However, stomach acid is perfectly safe in the stomach. In fact, when babies do overproduce stomach acid, as in produce more than what they need to digest the food they have eaten, one of those times genuinely is when they're teething. Now, this stomach acid passes into the small intestine where it is immediately met with a whole lot of bile and bile salts and bicarbonate, which neutralize the acid in the gut. They get increased mucus. There's a higher level of mucus production in the small intestine to protect the gut from this acid. The body is designed for that. The esophagus is not designed for stomach acid. Otherwise, it would be able to cope with stomach acid there, but it's not. We see children suffering with erosive esophagitis, which is when the esophagus starts to get eroded and burned away by the continual presence of stomach acid. I believe my daughter had this completely unknowns to me and anybody else around her. That brings longer term risks with it. it brings longer term risks, higher risks, not guarantees of anything going wrong, but increases the risk. I believe, because I've witnessed the power of the human body to repair itself perfectly when it's given the right tools in the right environment. Sometimes those tools are, nutrients, food, supplements. Removing the environment is maybe removing medication when it's appropriate. Do this always in conjunction with the prescribing doctor. But you don't need to worry so long. If we address the underlying cause of reflux and get rid of it, then your baby can be completely free from reflux. There is absolutely always something we can do to free your baby from reflux so they're not struggling with it. Okay, we have the online workshop. We have myself and all the certified baby reflux professionals out there. And we have our online workshop and the book, the Baby Reflux Aid Survival Guide. These are the ways. These are going to be your quickest ways to remove any worry. I know the worry. I've been there twice. The worry and the stress that this brings into our life as parents is extreme. And we don't need to sit with it all the time. We can take action. And I'm afraid our doctors don't know what to do because they haven't been taught this. Med school does not teach them that reflux is a symptom of something else. They are taught it's a disease and they need to medicate. The medications don't stop the regurgitation, and the medications do change a lot for what goes on for children. If you want, we have our free medications guide on the website as well. If you'd like the free medications guide, pop a comment in below and we will send that. I think if you type in medications, you'll get that automatically. If you want to understand and get to the root cause quick, if you're on Facebook, pop workshop into the comments below and we will get that link to the workshop straight to you so you can start to understand and resolve your baby's reflux and get yourself to a calmer place where you don't need to be worried about any potential dangers around it. So, yes, baby reflux can be dangerous and we don't have to prolong it. It's not dangerous for all children. There are some children where it's extremely risky. There's a very, 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 very small minority where we need to be taking action much, much sooner because infant reflux can be misdiagnosed or something else can be misdiagnosed as reflux. There's a rare, very rare, very, very, very rare condition, which if reflux isn't resolved for years and years and years, not even years and years, about 2 years old, we need to be understanding why it's going on. The sooner we can address any potential underlying cause for any child, the sooner we can identify whether there is something much more sinister, potentially dangerous going on. I don't like to talk about it because I don't want to raise concerns and worries. The first step for every family, for every baby, is to, first of all, capture everything that is going on. Work through it and put the pieces of the puzzle together to say, how do these make sense? Take action to address that thing that makes most sense. And if we still don't get results, go back around again. We go back around again. 6 weeks is the absolute most it should take for us to figure out exactly what's going on for any child. And for us to be able to say confidently, okay, that's not particularly dangerous. We know exactly what's going on for this child and we know why. And then we know what we're looking for or trying to do or why we want to do it. If we're still confused after 6 weeks, that's when we need to go, okay, let's maybe ask some different questions. These different questions that are being asked are currently being asked when children are 2 years old. And very often 2 years is too late. And I will say for the absolute, I mean, 99.99999% of babies, even at 2 years old, it's digestive immaturity or something that hasn't been resolved, like there's muscle tension or, you know, how they're drinking their milk or something like that going on, or an unrecognized allergy or an intolerance. There's always something we can do. And I am here to absolutely help as many parents in the world as I can to get their babies reflux free and start living a life free of worry, free of concern, where you get to gaze at your child and lose hours going, oh, they're asleep. Why did I just stare at them while they're asleep? Because now I've been staring for an hour and a half and I haven't done anything that I need to do when they were napping. But imagine that time when they are napping for an hour and a half or 2 hours. That's when magic happens. Okay, I'm off. Please let me know if this has been helpful if you're tuning in on the replay. Yeah, let me know. Thank you and bye-bye.